Blue is just filtered light. From space, Earth appears as a brilliant blue sphere. More than 70% of the planet is covered by ocean, giving our world its famous nickname, the Blue Planet. For centuries, it seemed obvious that the ocean itself must simply be blue, but the truth is far more surprising. Seawater has almost no color of its own. Pure water actually absorbs red wavelengths slightly more strongly than blue, which is why very large bodies of water gradually appear blue even when they contain very little sediment. What we see from above is not the color of the ocean itself, but the color of sunlight that survives the journey through it. Sunlight may look white to our eyes, but it is actually a mixture of many different wavelengths. Each wavelength corresponds to a different color of the spectrum: red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. When sunlight enters the ocean, those colors begin to separate. Water does not absorb them equally. The longest wavelengths disappear first. Red light fades within just a few meters below the surface. Orange and yellow vanish soon after. Green penetrates deeper, but it too gradually weakens. Blue travels the farthest. As the other colors are filtered away, the remaining blue wavelengths scatter through the water and back toward our eyes. From above, the ocean appears blue, not because the water itself carries that color, but because blue is the last color left in the light. In effect, the ocean acts like a vast natural filter. It removes the colors of sunlight layer by layer. Divers notice this phenomenon almost immediately. Descend only a few meters underwater and red objects begin to lose their color. A bright red coral can suddenly appear dull brown or gray. Fish that seem vibrant at the surface become strangely muted. This is why scuba divers often carry powerful headlamps. Artificial light restores the missing wavelengths, bringing back the colors that sunlight can no longer deliver. When a diver switches on a lamp, a reef that looked pale and colorless suddenly bursts back into reds, oranges, and yellows. The colors were never truly gone. They had simply been filtered out by the water itself. And this filtering process continues as we descend deeper into the ocean, because the deeper we go, the fewer colors survive the journey. Until eventually, even blue begins to fade. And the ocean that once looked bright and vibrant slowly transforms into something very different. For many people, this transformation creates a strange psychological reaction. Even experienced swimmers often describe a sense of unease when floating above water that appears black with depth. When the bottom disappears from view, the human mind struggles to judge distance, scale, and safety. Fire can be seen and measured, but deep water hides its danger beneath a silent surface. The ocean is both beautiful and unsettling, a place that attracts curiosity while quietly reminding us how little control we truly have within it. A world where color disappears altogether. After 200 meters, color disappears. At the surface, the ocean appears vibrant and alive. Sunlight pours through the water, illuminating coral reefs, schools of fish, and vast clouds of drifting plankton. Colors shimmer everywhere, reds, yellows, greens, and blues, blending together beneath the waves. But this brightness is only a thin layer of the ocean. As we descend deeper, the light begins to change. Within just a few meters, the warm colors of the spectrum begin to disappear. Reds fade first, followed by orange and yellow. Divers quickly notice that the deeper they go, the more the underwater world begins to lose its color. By the time we reach around 200 meters below the surface, something remarkable has happened. Almost every color of sunlight has vanished. This region marks the edge of what scientists call the twilight zone, or the mesopelagic zone. Here, sunlight still exists, but only as a faint, bluish glow filtering down from far above. It is far too weak to support photosynthesis. The forests of microscopic algae that dominate the sunlit surface waters can no longer survive here. Without them, the foundation of the ocean's food web begins to change. But the disappearance of color is perhaps the most striking transformation. At this depth, even the last surviving blue wavelengths become extremely faint. the ocean becomes a muted world of shadows and silhouettes. A bright tropical fish would no longer look colorful here. It would appear gray or black. Many deep-sea animals take advantage of this strange optical environment. Some species evolve bodies that are nearly transparent, allowing them to vanish into the dim background. Others cloak themselves in deep red pigments. At the surface, red would be highly visible. But at 200 meters, red light no longer exists, which means these animals appear completely black to any predator searching in the dim blue glow above. It is camouflage created not by hiding color, but by exploiting its absence. Yet even in this dim world, life continues to move. Each night, billions of animals rise from deeper waters into the fading light. Lanternfish, squid, and jelly-like creatures ascend toward the surface to feed under the cover of darkness. At dawn, they sink back down again into the twilight. This daily movement is known as diel vertical migration, the largest synchronized migration on Earth, a hidden rhythm that unfolds every single day beneath the waves. And below this twilight boundary, the ocean grows darker still, because beyond this depth, sunlight itself begins to disappear, almost completely. Below 1,000 meters, total darkness. Far below the twilight zone, the last traces of sunlight disappear. At around 1,000 meters beneath the surface, the ocean enters a realm known as the midnight zone. Here, there is no dawn, no sunset, no faint glow filtering from above, only darkness. It is a darkness so complete that without artificial light, a human eye would see absolutely nothing. The sun that illuminates the world above has lost its power entirely. And yet, life continues here. Temperatures hover just above freezing. Pressure rises to more than 100 times what we experience at the surface. To a human body, these conditions would be instantly fatal. But to the creatures of the deep sea, this is home. In this world without sunlight, color has no meaning. Without light to reflect it, even the most vibrant pigments would appear black. Instead, many animals here rely on a very different strategy. They create their own light. This phenomenon is known as bioluminescence, a chemical reaction inside the bodies of certain organisms that produces cold, glowing light. In the deep ocean, light becomes a tool for survival. Some animals use it to hunt, others use it to hide. Some use it to communicate with potential mates in the vast darkness. Among the most famous hunters of this world is the anglerfish. The female anglerfish carries a small glowing lure extending from her head, like a living lantern. In the darkness, curious prey are drawn toward the light. And when they approach too closely, the anglerfish strikes. Other species use light in far stranger ways. Some squid release glowing clouds into the water to confuse predators, creating a luminous decoy while they escape. Certain fish produce flashes of light to startle attackers or signal members of their own species. In a place where sunlight does not exist, light itself becomes a language. Even camouflage changes here. Some deep-sea fish possess skin so dark it absorbs nearly all light that touches it. These ultra-black surfaces reflect less than 1% of incoming light, making the animals nearly invisible even when illuminated by submersible lights. It is a perfect defense in a world built on darkness. Yet despite the harsh conditions, the midnight zone is far from empty. Strange creatures drift through the water column. Long-toothed dragonfish, transparent jellies, ghost-like squid, and predators with enormous jaws adapted to capture any rare meal that passes by. Food is scarce here. Every opportunity must be seized, and still, even deeper waters lie below. Because beyond the midnight zone, the ocean floor stretches into vast plains and trenches, where the darkness grows even more profound. In these depths, sunlight has been absent for millions of years, and the creatures that live there have evolved in a world where the sun might as well not exist at all. Most of the ocean is black. From space, Earth is known as the blue planet. The vast oceans that cover more than 70% of the surface give our world its signature color. Satellite images show endless expanses of shimmering blue stretching across the globe. But this image hides a deeper truth. The ocean is not truly blue. In fact, most of it is black. The blue we see from above exists only in the thin upper layer, where sunlight can still reach. This sunlit region, known as the epipelagic zone, extends roughly 200 meters below the surface. Compared to the full depth of the ocean, it is astonishingly small. The average depth of the world's oceans is nearly 4,000 meters, which means the bright, colorful waters that humans are familiar with make up only a tiny fraction of the ocean's volume. Below that narrow layer, the environment changes dramatically. Light fades rapidly, colors vanish, and soon the ocean becomes something entirely different, a vast realm of darkness. Scientists estimate that more than 90% of the ocean exists in conditions where sunlight cannot penetrate. These regions, the midnight zone, the abyssal plains, and the deep ocean trenches, are permanently dark. Here, the sun has no influence. Day and night no longer exist. Storms on the surface mean nothing. The deep ocean is a world governed by entirely different rules. Yet despite this darkness, it is not empty. The black ocean is filled with life. Strange and remarkable creatures drift through the depths. Fish with enormous eyes, adapted to detect the faintest glimmers of light, squid with long trailing arms, and gelatinous animals that seem almost alien in form. Many produce their own light through bioluminescence, creating brief flashes or steady glows in the darkness. These bursts of light are used for hunting, communication, or defense. In the deep ocean, light is no longer provided by the sun. It is created by life itself. Even on the seafloor, life persists. Across the abyssal plains, vast deserts of mud covering huge portions of the planet, animals move slowly through the sediment, feeding on the drifting remains of organic matter falling from the surface. Occasionally, a large carcass, such as a whale, sinks into the darkness. When it does, entire ecosystems gather around it, feeding for years or even decades. Despite covering most of our planet, these regions remain largely unexplored. Scientists estimate that more than 80% of the ocean has never been directly observed by humans. Every expedition into the deep reveals creatures never before documented by science. New species, new behaviors, new mysteries. The deeper we explore, the more we realize how little we truly know about the largest habitat on Earth. From space, Earth looks like a blue world. But if we could see through the ocean itself, we would discover that most of our planet is not blue at all. It is black, a planet whose largest habitat exists in darkness, because beneath that thin blue surface lies the greatest hidden world on Earth, a silent, immense frontier, and above all else, a world defined by darkness. If you want to explore more hidden worlds of the deep ocean, subscribe and dive deeper with us.